So here we are, we're very excited. So many things happening. We are about to enter Purim. This is Parsha Zachor, Parsha Tetzaveh. It's an exciting time. There's so much energy right now, and I walked into one of my three little ones that share a room, right? And I walked into that room and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just craziness in this room. Mm-hmm. Like between the shlach, I don't know what they did in 5 minutes, they're able to create such wonderful, beautiful vayafuchu of kol ha'cheder, right? Turn everything upside down. And this is the air and the atmosphere. Like where one day it's freezing and one day there's sun and then you're like, what? This is also this time of the year where you don't even know what to wear, right? Because it might be cold and it might be hot and everything's possible. And I'm going to I want to bring in a couple things, and try to piece it all together. Also, this is Bezat Hashem for Refuah Shleima, my brother, Aaron Shimon ben Cherna, and also I had I'm just to say this one crazy Ishkacha practice. He's in a hospital, and I happened to have a work meeting, and I realized I'm on the meeting with somebody who's in the same city as my brother. So at the end of the meeting, it just came to me at the end of the meeting, and I know I can find somebody everywhere in the world, Baruch Hashem. There's always a way, but I was like, this is such hashgacha practice, and I'm like, can you help me find Megillah reading for my brother? Mm-hmm. And she's like, sure. Within 5 minutes, we got. I arranged, and a tzaddik will come and Bezat Hashem do Megillah. So I'm telling you, everything can happen in the blink of an eye. Things happen, and they work out Bezat Hashem the way that Hashem wants them to. So here we go. This week was Zayin Adar, the Yurtzeit, and also the birthday of Moshe Rabbeinu, right? And the Parsha starts off very famously so. Why? Because this week's Parsha Tetzaveh starts off, and I say famously, that Moshe's name is not mentioned. It says, Vata Tetzaveh. Who's Ata? Ata's Moshe. Why are you everywhere else in all the Parsha from the time he's born? The whole entire Torah has Moshe's name in it. It's not you. It's okay now. Hashem told Moshe and said you now, but Moshe's name is not mentioned. It's brought down. Why is he not mentioned? Because if you fast forward to next week's parsha, which is right after Purim, what happens? We have the Chet HaEgel. We have that Moshe Rabbeinu went up for 40 days, which we will learn about next, soon. But he goes out 40 days. He's diving to Kadosh Baruch Hu, getting the Luchot, getting the Torah. It's exciting. He's expecting to come down. It's like you just made that incredible meal, the incredible birthday cake. You worked so hard. You made all the sprinkles how they wanted it, and then you come and someone just either hates it, it flops, it burns. I don't know, or you're walking with it, and all of a sudden someone just knocks into you and it's on the floor. And it's like, why did I just do all that? So that's going to be next week's Parsha. But what does he say in this? He hears what's going on. Hashem tells him, go down, you're going to see that it's like, not only you're up here getting the Torah, well, guess what everyone down there is doing? They're dancing in front of a golden calf. So what does he say in the Pasuk? It says in Lamed Bet, where are we? Lamed Bet, Pasuk... Lamed Bet, Lev, interesting, okay. It says, Vata im, it says, it, maybe, like an if, Tisachet atam, ve'im, ayin mechaneni na, misavarecha asher katafta. So we have the if, right, which is very interesting. If you're not going to forgive them, then if not, you're not forgetting them, I want you to erase me from your book. So the question is asked is that, okay, Moshe's name is not mentioned in the whole entire Parsha as kind of like a punishment. It is a punishment that you said to erase me from your book. And you did give the Tanai if. So if, means if you're not going to forgive them, but you did forgive them, Hashem. So why then is Moshe erased from Parsha Tetzaveh? So here we learn a very important lesson that you have to be very careful what you say. Even if you give all these bli neder bezat Hashem, still be careful what your intention is. And also the theme of this week and of Purim, I think, and of Parsha Zachor is there. I'm giving the punchline. You can now not listen to the rest of the shir, but it's that don't ever say you will be erased. And I'm going to tell a story that was brought down, and it was brought down that when Rav Chaim Kanievsky was learning as a bachor in yeshiva, he was learning with Rav Moshe Soloveitchik, okay? And they were roommates, and they were learning, And Rav Moshe had also, outside of his learning, he would also go into like, I don't know, towns, or I don't know what you would call it. He would go and he would try to like recruit little kids to go to Jewish schools. Okay, there was a haskalah going on, and always, or just in every situation, someone is trying to take away the kids from not learning Torah. So I had it written down. I forgot the piece of paper. So just take my word for where it was, but it's in that place. Later I can look where exactly. It has even the yeshiva and everything written down. Okay. So anyways, so he's going around, and one night he comes home, schut, like squeezed, exhausted. We can all imagine what this feels like when you're just so tired, putting all day long chesed, trying to recruit these little Yiddish neshamas to go into a Jewish school. He arrives back in his cheder, in his room, and there Rav Chaim. And Rav Moshe opens up his Gemara. He had a minhag, I don't know if it's a minhag, but he was very diligent every single day to do daf yomi. He starts opening the Gemara, and what happens? He falls asleep. One word, he falls asleep. And then he wakes up like this, and then again another word. And then up, and another word. And then up, another word. It's taking him forever. He finally finishes his daf. He closes the sefer. He puts his head on the pillow, or on the bed. And Rav Chaim says to him, did you understand a single word that you read in that daf? He opens his eyes on Moshe and he says, no, I didn't really. So Rav Chaim says, according to what I read, okay, he says, well then why did you do that? Meaning you didn't understand a single thing you're reading, and you're exhausted also anyway, so why are you learning the daf? Isn't that like chaval? If you don't understand what you're learning, why are you learning it? So Rav Moshe said, I didn't learn it for the daf for today. I learned it for the daf of Machar of tomorrow. Which means what? It means that I was all day long doing for other people to get them connected to Torah and to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And if I myself don't keep my connection to Torah and to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm not going to have it tomorrow. I will not have a connection to Hashem. So a lot of times we feel like we're running around all day long trying to do as much as we possibly can to get other people to do Torah mitzvot. Let them, make sure your kids are doing Netilat Yadayim in the morning, and make sure they're davening, and make sure they're doing this. And am I enabling this person to be able to have a shir? And am I enabling mine doing this? But hello, at the end of the day, you lie down, and did you do something for yourself to make sure you have a connection with Hashem? Did you sit for 5 minutes and have a little bit of hidbadadut with HaKadosh Baruch Hu and talk to him? And make a kasha with him? And learn something? You are, right now, you're listening to this. So you're obviously having a kasha in Torah, and it's sweet. But don't ever say that I don't exist when it comes to me in Torah. Like Hashem, you can give Moshe Rabbeinu, there's no one as humble. Miseret nefesh legamrei. This is the Yid who will say, I am giving up my life. I'm walking into the fire for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Whether it's Avram Avinu, whether it's the Crusades and the Inquisition and the gas chambers, it's a say and October 7th, whatever. It's saying I'm willing to give up my life. I'm willing to give up my money. V'hafta et Hashem Elokecha v'kol levavecha v'kol nafshecha v'kol me'odecha. But one thing you cannot give up, actually, is your connection to Hashem. That I can't erase myself from the Torah. I can't give up my Emunah in Hashem, no matter what is going on. And I especially think as a busy woman, this is something so negea to all of us. I had a person, there's certain things also, even when it comes to Torah, is chesed. So, I try to help people as much as I can. And I will help anyone that I can with as much as I can. And I could get to a point where I really feel like I don't exist anymore. I'm talking about even my kids, maybe. I'm trying and I'm like, I don't exist. Now, I'm not talking about I don't exist in that, like, we know if you don't put on your oxygen mask, you can't put on the oxygen mask of the person sitting next to you in the airplane. But I'm not even talking about even like a physical recharge. I'm talking about a spiritual recharge, which could be maybe sometimes burnt out from physicality. Right? So I had someone reach out to me, and it's just an example. Two things sort of happened this week that I was like, whoa. One is that I was like, I need a little bit of time. Mommy just going to go into a room, lock herself, and do some exercise. And the kids are pounding, but not because there's an emergency going on, because someone can't find their crown of their costume, and it's not even Purim yet. Because one person is like, annoying another person that they could deal with already at this age. Like, it wasn't major life crises. This was just, I needed 15 minutes to be like just getting out some energy and like by myself. And they were like, so what did I do? I came out extremely like agitated. I took a big, my Netilat Yadayim big bowl. I took the Netilat Yadayim cup and another little plastic cup, and and I said, with the water full of the keli of the nitilat yadayim, I started pouring the water inside the cup, which this is a mashal that Rabbi Spetner taught us about of emotional dysregulation, which is what? You are a cup. You keep pouring emotional things that will, what's going to happen inside of you. If you just keep pouring, or in a way, burning out is emptying out, then you will explode. So I said to them, when mommy is trying to fill herself, like unload, right? And mommy is saying, I need to be by myself. Not I'm running away, I'm leaving the house, I don't want to be with you. Just, I need a little bit of, not you be quiet. I'm going to a place where I need to be quiet. And you keep pouring in the water, I told them, it's very hard then for mommy to be like emotionally calm and regulate. Now it's still my achrayus, it's still my responsibility. But I was like, I'm taking responsibility to telling you guys I need to be left alone, And I said, and so I kept telling them all week, the cup is getting full, but also to each other. You see that that sibling is bothering you, unload your cup a little bit. Again, we're not talking about running away. We talk about self-care, and that's an idea. Maybe I need to go to for a whole month to a spa, and I'm not talking about running away. I'm not talking about that I'm going to have, my problems are going to go away by me leaving and coming back. I'm talking about that I need to learn daily how to have a kesher with the Kadosh Baruch Hu so that my cup is not flying out of the place with my emotionalism. And I need spiritual connection to Hashem. Don't erase me. Don't wipe me out, because Hashem is saying, he's like giving us a musar by not having Moshe in this parsha, of teaching us, don't you dare say you are not have a sheikhut to Torah. Every single yid has a connection with me. And what are you doing? So don't say, what for someone else, I'm going to give up my connection to Hashem. Give up your money? Yes. Maybe give up your life. You might have to. You can't, avodah zarah, killing another person, you have to give up your physical life. But you're not going to ever be told to give up your spiritual connection, your spiritual life, your connection with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and your Emunah, right? So Moshe's not mentioned in this parsha. Pause. What is mentioned in this parsha, which is just wild to me? It's a whole entire fashion. It's about fashion. The whole entire parsha has to do with clothing. How accessories, it has to do with accessories, it has to do with color coordination, it has 8 different there's all these garments, jewelry. This is a parsha full of fashion. So I'm looking, what does this have to do with me? I'm not a Kohen and I'm not a man. There's no Beis Hamikdash. How is this applicable to me? Oh, well, it has to do with fashion. So let me see what the Torah wants to teach me about fashion. So what is this about fashion in this parsha? What is the words that are used? How is clothing described? That it has to be in one way. It has to be. It says that the clothing of the Kohanim, right? I just want to read it, even though I know it by heart. I want to read it because I'm missing, where is it? Well, there's 2 words that describe the clothing of the Kohanim, which is tiferet. It's kavod and tiferet. Okay, it has to be b'kavod v'tiferet. I can't find it right this second, but I will, with all my bookmarks and everything. But likvod v'tiferet. Okay, what are these 2 words, kavod? So we've talked about kavod a lot in the past. Kavod is, of course, it's dignity, it's honor, but it's giving space too. Kavod is also the neshama. When it talks about kavod, it talks about the neshama. So there's something about my clothing that has to be connected to neshama, which is the true kavod that there is. And also tiferet is beauty. What kind of beauty is it? It's a splendor that has to do with balance. There's a certain balance in my life, which also, I can't, someone can ask me to do one thing. If I know that one more thing is going to physically and emotionally over the hill, someone asks me to do something that I know it means a lot to them. But I'm like, if I were to do that, there goes my Purim. Really, there goes my Purim. Because I can't push myself so much the day before Purim to do another chesed for another person that I'm not going to have a Purim myself, right? So balance is glory and beauty and splendor, which means that always I will have to give up one thing in order to do something else. There's always, every no in life is a yes, and every yes means a no, right? So we have these ideas of kavod and splendor. So now let's go into Megillat Esther, the Parsha, this idea of clothing, because I want you to see, here it is, Pasuk Kaf Chaf Bet. V'esita b'gdei kodesh la'aron achicha likvod l'tiferet. Okay, Baruch Hashem. I knew I had a bookmark somewhere. Okay, so here we go. What's going on? Megillat Esther also interesting enough, so we have Moshe Rabbeinu, this idea of mechika, wipe me out. Parsha Zachor, which we're supposed to remember to wipe up Amalek. We're not supposed to forget Amalek, which I thought is so interesting. All these years, I'm like, why should I remember? Why do I remember to wipe you out? It doesn't say to forget you. Wouldn't it be so much easier to forget? So that's the question. What's the difference between forgetting something and wiping them out, or losing it? I would say, not having, okay? And Megillat Esther, we have so many clothing in Megillat Esther. Look at all the Pasukim. We have Yikra, Mordechai. Okay, first of all, there's the Midrash that brings in actually that Achashverosh comes out in what? The clothing of the Kohen Gadol on his party. Like, beyond horrific, right? Then Mordechai, no, I'm sorry. Wait, go back. Achashverosh asked, Vashti took him out. How? Lo bebegadim, without clothing. Interesting. Then we have Mordechai Shamat Kol Asher Naseh, that when Mordechai heard everything, what does it say in the pasuk of the Megillah? V'yikra Mordechai et begdav, he tore his clothing. V'ilbash sak ve'afar, he puts on sackcloth and ashes. Right? That's in Megillat Esther. Then Esther sends, and she said, V'tishlach begadim. She says, wait a minute, to the messenger, send these clothing to Mordechai, and tell him to take off the sackcloth, again clothing. Lo kibal, he did not receive that. Then Achashverosh asked Haman, Ma lasod beish asher melech chavetz bikaro. What does the person do to the person that the king wants to, desires to honor? Let's just say. And then what does the pasuk say? Ve'yiviu levush malchut asher lavash bo hamelech. He should get dressed in the clothing that the king, right? The king's clothing. And then v'yikach Haman et alivush ve'et asus ve'yilbash et Mordechai. So now all of a sudden Mordechai is dressed into the clothing of the king. And we have finally Vayihi b'yom shlishi, on the third day. Esther is fasting for 3 days with all her maidservants. The whole entire Am Yisrael is fasting in David Kodesh Baruch. And it says on the third day, V'til bash Esther malchut. And all of a sudden she gets dressed in this clothing, which, by the way, Boyer points out is like what? What was she wearing before? Shmatas? She's the queen of 127 provinces. She's not walking around in trainers. Do you know what I'm saying? She's not wearing her robe. You know what I'm saying? Why does it say now she's wearing these clothing of Malchut? What was she wearing before? She was a queen now for many, many years already. And then we have in Mordechai Yetzal Miflei HaMelech Bilvush Malchut, and it says all the beautiful. We sing this Techelet V'chora Terat Zaha Gdula V'techech Butz Ve'agaman, right? Va'ir B'Shushan Hatzala V'Tzameach, right? So once again we see that Mordechai also gets dressed up in these beautiful. So we have the Megillah has lots to do with clothing. Again, I didn't realize that it was such a fashion thing going on here. And then apart from that, we have a minhag. We have a custom to do what? Dress up. In what? Tachposet. What's a tachposet? It's a costume. Tachposet, the word costume, tachposet, is related to lechapes, to look for something. So we're going to find out, what are we looking for on Purim? Okay, I'm going to bring in now Rabbi Natan. So what does it say in the Megillah? It says in the Megillah that B'kol yom v'yom Mordechai tihalech ledat et shalom Esther uma yaseh ba. What happens? We have this couple. Yes, it's brought down. The Mordechai and Esther are this couple. Okay? And she's taken against her will to the king's palace. And then it says in the Megillah that every day Mordechai would go and find out what is with Esther. What's going on with her? So it says that in Masechet Kiddushim, right? It says that the way of the world is that the man goes after his wife, meaning he's looking for her, okay, in order to return her to him. What does this mean? It means that as though the parable is, it's a shvat eveda, it's a lost object, meaning a man, and also the Midrash says, right, that there's two different ways of creation. There's one where a man and a woman were created as one, back to back, and then Hashem split them. And then the other way of creation that's written is that woman was taken from his rib. That's why Isha is Me'ish, right? Either way, you see that the woman is part of the man, okay? So what's this idea of a lost object? And also under the chuppah, the man does say, At mekudeshet li, you are mine, right? Which means that a man, the brought down in a man's body, is looking for his lost object. It's a part of him. His wife is literally a part of him. When we in the menorah, it's the husband lighting it for him and his wife. Why? Because she's kiru him. She's gufo, right? Shtov is kamo gufo. His wife is like his body. Mordechai went to go find out what's going on with Esther because she's mine. I'm going after her. I want to see what's happening to her to bring her back to me. Okay? Now, what is this also mashal of Hakadosh Baruch Hu and Am Yisrael, or the neshama for each individual? Which means is that each individual is a lost soul, so to speak. You come into this world with a tafkid and a mission, right? And you get lost. And I don't even know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And I feel so disconnected to you, Hashem, because I'm lost. But what happens, and what's the halakha of a lost object? If the owner doesn't give up hope in finding it, because why? If I just find some money, then it's called hefker, and because the owner has no chance of finding it back, he says, I gave up on it. But if I find a wallet with a name, identification inside of that, the owner has hope and he keeps looking for it. But also the wallet is identifiable. What I'm trying to say is that Mordechai told Esther, do not forget you're a Jew. You go to the palace, you have to go. You're being lost from me. But don't lose your identity and don't wipe yourself from the book. She kept Shabbos, she kept Kashrus, she kept Tznius, she did not speak a word. That's real Tznius. She really knew when not to speak. She kept herself. I don't care in what situation I am, I'm not going to lose myself, right? And he would go after, where's my neshamale? Like, it's like Hashem saying, where's my neshamale? What's going on? My neshama is part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Zachalak Me'elkai. The neshama gets lost, and what does Rabbi Natan bring? He brings that we do all kinds of things in this world that gets us away from our mission. It would be so easy if all we do all day long is we're so connected, and we're doing mitzvot, and masing tovim, and there's no but it's not. We lose all the time. We get lost. The moment I forget why I'm doing what I'm doing, I'll start to yell and I'll explode because I forgot what's my purpose and mission here for, right? Why did you give me this test, Hashem? Oh, I had a beautiful question asked me yesterday by a single woman, and she's like, I don't get it. Like, I'm trying to grow in Torah mitzvot, and I can't find a guy now. It's harder for me. Now it's harder for me? And I'm like, yeah, because he's making your muscles stronger so that you're going to be such a stronger person. Imagine the person you're finding now. It takes time to flex those muscles. Wait, patience. But if you lose your identity, then your ball is not going to find you. However, you keep your identity and you remember who you are, and then there's hope you're going to be returned to that lost object, right? So what does Rabbi Natan bring down? He brings down that also in this looking and searching, a lot of times what happens, and the mashal as Rav Levi brings, that let's say you lost a key, or you lost a shoe, and you can't find the shoe. As you're searching and looking through your whole entire home, you're taking out all your wallet, you're taking out your purse, you're taking out your pockets, all of a sudden you find 5 shekels. Or you find, a piece of paper that has a phone number that you were looking for 10 years. Or you find just a picture that brings you nostalgia. And as you're looking, 1 year, okay, the year before I was zoche to have my daughter, I found my ketubah, actually. Meaning, like, I was rummaging looking through something else, and I see my ketubah, and in my ketubah I realized that my name is not right. We had a new ketubah, and 11 months to that day, it was Yud Chet of Tevet was the ketubah, Yud Chet Kislev, my daughter was born. 6 years after I was married, right? So you're looking and searching something. I was looking for something else. I think it was a bad passport, because they keep all the passports, and the ketubah was all there. And all of a sudden, I see my ketubah. I found something. It wasn't what I was looking for. I thought, of a matzati mashu. I found something, right? So we think, I'm looking for this, I don't know what in my life, and then all of a sudden someone brings another person into your life, or some chiddush into your life, or something, a lesson into your life, find something else. So Mordechai, he goes every day. Not necessarily he's going to get back his Esther. But what happens also is he goes to her, and at first we must understand how much Emunah and Bitachon Esther also had. She did not speak a word. To be quiet to me, like, how much Emunah can a person have not to open their mouth? Do you imagine? Not to say one word that whole time? Why is it Megillah Esther, not anybody else? Because she was such a symbolism of Emunah. to know that Hashem is there in the Hester, and that is a high level of Emunah. Right? That's why it's Megillat Esther, because she was extremely high in Emunah. But listen to what's crazy. What brings down the Chida? It says when it says Ish Yehudi is Mordechai, that's the same gematria. According to the Chida, I know it's a little off, but of Moshe. Okay, Moshe Rabbeinu was a Gilgul. Now we're going to get into Kabbalah a little bit. He's a Gilgul of Moshe Rabbeinu, became Gilgul of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, became a Gilgul of Mordechai, a Yehudi, okay, and so on, and other very Baal Shem Tov, it's brought down, also is a big Gilgul of Moshe. And what's this Gilgul about? And what happens each time there's this brought in is Moshe Rabbeinu is willing to give up his life for Am Yisrael. His whole essence is bringing Torah to the nation. But he did one thing. Now this is chas v'chalila, I'm saying anything like, it's just my small brain is thinking this. It's not that I actually, but I don't want to say, but like, he was not supposed to say, wipe me from the book. Don't erase yourself from the very Torah. Don't erase yourself. Don't erase your connection. Why? Because Moshe, the Hatzalah, Yeshua can come another way without you erasing yourself. Hashem can save them, and afterwards Moshe did. Then he learns the Shlosha Semidot Rachamim. He comes back. He davens, which is the other way of saving Am Yisrael. You have to wipe me from it in order to save Am Yisrael and change the situation. He for sure did the tikkun right away. But Mordechai comes as Moshe, and now Mordechai is like, wait a minute, Esther. When she gets scared and she says, I can't go, he doesn't call me. He says, Hatzalah, it's going to come. Emunah bitachon. You don't have to wipe yourself out. We don't have to wipe ourselves out. And what's all these things with the garments? So, and the clothing, and the fashion statements, right? What is the Kohen? Who are the Kohanim? The representations of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this world. The Kohen HaGadol was the representation of Am Yisrael to Hashem, and connected, he brought peace into the world by connecting Hashem with Am Yisrael. He would go in one day of the year on Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur, Kippurim. Esther Malka was about to enter into the chamber with the king, with Hamelech, Purim. You're about to enter a space in Purim where we have 24, actually 48 hours really, like if you tap into all the Shushan Purim and Purim atmosphere of davening, and even go the day before with Tanit Esther, of being with such a high awareness that I can tap into Hashem. That my tachboset, my costumes, are supposed to make me want to really lechapes and look for Hashem. Don't get distracted. Realize that all these things that we put on in order to impede us are just costumes. They're like, we have to keep looking. You don't think this is the way you're going to find Hashem? That's just a costume you're wearing. Find something else. Take it off and put it on a new costume. Lechapes, because inside the looking for, you're going to find something. You might not find the key, but you're going to find some money. You're going to find something else. You're going to find a way to connect to Hashem. The Yeshua will come. It might not come the way that you think it's going to come, but it's going to come. It's Emunah bitachon. It's the Chag of Emunah bitachon. It's davening to Hashem. It's saying, I can enter the Kodesh Kodeshim with everything that we've done, and my clothing is going to remind me of all the things and how to likaper it. And I have so much bitachon and Emunah in my relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu that I know we're never going to sever this relationship, Hashem. So what happens is Esther says to Mordechai, the very famous, when he tells her, you must go, and she says, I can't go, and then he says, well, if it's not you, somebody else, and then she's like, okay, I'm going to step up to the plate, and she says, please, I want everyone to daven for me. I want everyone to fast for me. And then what does she say? She says, it's so, she says, I can't find it right now. Here we go again. But she says it twice. She says, avadati. Well, if I'm lost, I'm lost. Maze aveda, it's the lost object. But here she says it twice. So we have to give over our money, our bodies to Hashem. But what's the second avadati? She was also saying, I'm going to lose my olam haba. Moshe, like she was saying, Mordechai, you're asking me to, if I perish, I perish. I don't think Esther was worried about her physical body, because she would give up her life for Am Yisrael. But to give up my second avadati, that I will give up my olam haba, that now I will never be allowed to, Mordechai, I can never come back. So then what does she do though? As the tikkun of that, she puts on livush machut. She dresses in this kingship clothing. What's this kingship? Kavod v'teach v'eretz. What is it? It's the neshama. I'm drawing my own hypothesis. is that first Esther's like, I will be lost. And then all of a sudden you put on this livush malchut, and you realize I can clothe myself in Hashem and I will never be lost. And then she can go. Even though she said avadati, avadati, at the end, it's an energetic kind of thing that we all have to do to realize that I have to wear the garment of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, of kavod. I have to literally have a connection to Hashem all the time on me. Because realize that connection can actually be something that someone could maybe try to take off of me, or that I myself can take off. It's not permanent to me. The connection is not permanent. Even though what I'm saying is we have to actively work to have a connection with Hashem. It's there all the time. But we can't think that, it's okay, you can just erase me from it. You can't say that. You have to be wearing it, so to speak. You have to be tapped into it. You have to put it on. Emunah bitachon is something you have to wear all the time. That even though it's inherently inside of us, we actually have to wear it also in order to tap into it. And this, at the end, we have that we're supposed to wipe out Amalek. We have to remember, because what's the difference between forgetting something? Forgetting something is like, if I forget it, it means it's still there. Amalek is safek, it's doubt. I have to wipe out the doubt. I can't think that it's still there inside of me. I have to wipe it out. I have to remember that there exists this force that's an illusion. Isn't that crazy to say something exists illusionary? There's an existence of an illusion that says I will not have a connection with Hashem. And I have to remember that always could come up in my life where I get safek, I get doubt, and I have to actively wipe it out. How? Put on your garment of kavod and ivush. Make sure you have a connection, even on a practical level. I'm going to speak practically. I had another beautiful interaction with a friend of mine who was really sharing with me and pouring her heart out. She was feeling so sad. And, it's so easy for me to say that the sadness is coming from a disconnect with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, because you're feeling gone. And when in your life did you put in a garment that says, I'm not good enough? When did you start wearing that? Who says you're not good enough for what? I want to put in here that my son, my oldest son, he's almost 21. He had, I think it was 2 weeks ago, he asked one of our Ravs, Rav Safrani, and he said, how can I work on my self-esteem? How does a person work on it? And Rav Safrani says to him, from my understanding, now I'm telling you what I understood my son said to me, what I understood the Rav said to him. He was like, bitachon etzmi, why are you worried about your self-esteem? All you need to worry about is you should have bitachon, you're doing Ratzon Hashem. That is self-esteem. Self-esteem is not being more confident, not learning how to speak with more fluency. I'm not going to be able to put on a shir because I don't have my microphone, or it has to be perfect, or I'm not going to, self-esteem is that, what if they don't love me, or what if they don't like me, or what if it didn't come out good, or I have to please everybody. That is never going to give me self-esteem that every single person is clapping for me and happy with what I'm doing. The only thing that's true self-esteem is wearing the garment of kavod and tiferet. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm doing your Ratzon. What more can I wear when I go into the Kodesh Kodeshim? And then what happens? The king extends his scepter. We have Yom Kippur and we have Purim. We have these two chags. And also to top this all off with Moshe Rabbeinu is that Haman thinks that the day Moshe dies, great, this is a perfect month to have annihilation in Lashmid at Kol Yehudi. Lashmid, to destroy Kol Yehudi. The gematria of Shamad is 364. The gematria of Ratzon is 366. I hope I'm doing this right. But what's in the middle is Moshe, gematria 365. Moshe is the connector, who later is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and who's, or I should first say Rabbi Mordechai, and then Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who brings the Torah of the Zohar, which is, more illumination and more connection to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And even when Rabbi Akiva's all his students were gone, he still has these 5 that build up the whole entire Torah again. When we have, Zeo, it's gone. Destruction, we have to, Moshe is Moshech. I'm going to take out water. I'm going to just take out it. I'm going to find something I can still take out of the situation and connect it to Ratzon. Ratzon is a tzinor. It's the tube to connect me to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, right? So the day that, Moshe dies, guess what? It's the day he's born. And the Gemara makes a point of saying the day he dies is the day he was born. It doesn't say the obvious, the day you're born is the day you die. Because the moment Moshe Rabbeinu died, he was born. How? It says that every single part of us, every single one of us has inside of us a nitzitzah of a Moshe Rabbeinu. He spread himself out to all of them Yisrael, right? And also we know that no death is not final. A death is a birth of something else. One chapter closed means I'm going to open up a new chapter. A door closed, I'm opening a new door. A rejection means that I'm getting an acceptance from something else. Vayafuchu. The gallows that Mordechai was going to be hung on, guess who was hung on them? Haman. In life, everything is upside down because the moment you feel like you've died in something, kever, change the letters and you have boker. The grave becomes a new morning, right? And what is it? An opportunity to live a care, to visit HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we should be zocheh to arrive at, first of all, we should be zocheh to hear Parsha Zachor if we can make it to the show. To really erase all the doubt in our hearts that Hashem does not love us and we have to be perfect in order to achieve that level of love. That no matter what you do, even Chet HaEgel, there's tshuva, there's always a moment where you can reconnect to Kadosh Baruch Hu. We can never wipe out that connection. And don't overextend yourself to a point where you are not connecting. You've wiped yourself up from Torah because you feel like you've been put into a pretzel so many times. And I really see as the test is that if I'm asked to do something or I feel I need to do it, I close my eyes how I'm going to feel afterwards. If after I do it, I push myself, I know I'm going to be happy. I know I'm going to be happy I pushed myself. Do it. But if afterwards I know I'm just going to be resentful and angry, it's the Yetzer Hara. Stop. Empty yourself out or fill yourself up, depending which cup you're talking about here. And don't lose sight of your connection with the Kadosh Baruch Hu and Torah. Take time every single day, a little bit of time to fill yourself up with Hashem so that you can empty out all of the negativity and the doubt and the emotionalism that's ruling over you, right? And make sure you're wearing levush, which is malchut, which is I'm always wearing Hashem on me. He's surrounding me. He's like embracing me. The Shekhinah, she's always embracing me. We should go to Purim with simcha. We should go in Purim with koach, with also like understanding what we're doing here, to be always connected to Emunah and bitachon b'ezat Hashem and b'sorot tavot.